The Pacific Ocean hides a scar.
A gash in the planet's crust so deep, it defies imagination. This is the Atacama Trench. The seabed plunges to 8,000 meters. Over 26,000 feet. What could possibly survive in a place where the pressure is over 11,100 times that of the surface? A place where sunlight has never, ever reached. For centuries, we believed it was a dead zone. A sterile, empty void.
But recent expeditions, armed with new technology,
have illuminated a world that science is only beginning to understand. How does one current hold the entire globe's weather hostage? Wait, that's the wrong line. How does life conquer the most hostile frontier on Earth? The descent begins.
We are aboard the research vessel DSSV Pressure Drop.
Our destination is the trench floor. The first 1,000 meters of familiar territory. This is the Twilight Zone. Sunlight fades to a deep, permanent midnight. But the real journey is what lies below.
We call this the Hadal Zone.
Named for Hades, the underworld.
It is an apt description. Down here, the rules of biology are rewritten. The temperature plunges to just above freezing.
And the pressure is relentless. It is the equivalent of having 50 jumbo jets stacked on your thumbnail. This force is so extreme, it fundamentally alters biochemistry. It should crush bones, collapse lungs, and stop enzymes from functioning. And yet, we are not alone. This crushing dark is not a desert. It is the foundation of an ecosystem. A world built not on sunlight, but on gravity, geology, and the faintest whispers of life falling from the world above. We are entering an alien realm on our own planet. The lander touches down. The external temperature is 1.9 degrees Celsius.
The depth, 7,840 meters.
The first sight is not the emptiness we expected.
It is a carpet.
Vast, pale mats of bacteria cover the sediment. This is the very base of the Hadal food web. They are chemosynthetic.
They do not eat sunlight. They eat the chemicals seeping from the rock itself.
Then we see them.
The inhabitants of the trench.
Thousands of them. They are amphipods. Like shrimp, but pale, almost translucent. They swarm our lander, drawn by the disturbance. These are not just survivors, they are specialists. They are the primary recyclers of this deep, dark world. They feast on the bacterial mats and, more importantly, on the marine snow. That is the constant, slow drift of organic matter. Dead plankton, fish scales, and waste.
Falling for weeks from the sunlit world, thousands of meters above.
But the amphipods are not the apex. We find the predator. A creature of almost impossible fragility. The Hadal snailfish. Liparidae. It is ghostly white with no scales. Its skin is a gelatinous membrane.
How does it survive?
How does its body not implode? The answer is a masterpiece of biochemical engineering. Instead of fighting the pressure, this fish uses it. Its cells are filled with compounds called piezolites. These molecules stabilize its proteins, allowing its nerves to fire.
And its muscles to contract under forces that would turn our own bones to dust.
It is life, not in spite of the pressure.
But because of it.
This trench is not a prison.
It is a refuge. This oasis poses a fundamental question. How is it sustained?
These oases of life are impossibly remote.
The answer lies not in biology, but in geology. The trench itself is the engine. This is a subduction zone, the tectonic plate of the Pacific Ocean. The ancient Nazca Plate is being forced underneath the South American continent. This is one of the most geologically violent places on Earth. It is a conveyor belt of unimaginable force, grinding rock and moving continents. This collision does two things. First, it fractures the crust. It releases the chemical food, the sulfides and methane, that the bacterial mats at the very bottom of the food chain depend on. This is the chemosynthetic baseline. But it also shapes the battlefield. The trench is a funnel. Its steep, V-shaped walls, created by the bending of the plate, act as a giant collector.
It captures the marine snow from thousands of square miles of the ocean above. The very shape of the trench concentrates the scarce rain of life from the surface.
But there is another, more dramatic delivery system. An avalanche. The tectonic activity creates constant earthquakes. These quakes destabilize the steep canyon walls. They trigger massive underwater landslides. Turbidity currents. These are not gentle drifts. They are violent, abrasive torrents of mud, rock, and decades of accumulated food. This single event, a chaotic, destructive flood, can deliver more nutrients in a day than might fall in a century.
It is a sudden, brutal feast that resupplies the entire Hadal floor.
The creatures we see are not just pressure specialists. They are specialists in surviving chaos. This brutal, geologically violent engine, this grinder of plates and creator of avalanches,
Is precisely why life is so abundant here.
The Atacama Trench is not a static void. It is a processor. It is a critical and long overlooked piece of our planetary life support system. This is the deep frontier. What we have witnessed is not just a curiosity. It is a vital mechanism. Scientists call it the Hadal biological pump. The trenches are hotspots for the burial of carbon. In most of the deep ocean, falling carbon can sit for centuries. Here, it is trapped. The constant avalanches triggered by tectonic slips.
Bury that organic matter deep within the sediment, and fast.
It is locked away. This process prevents that carbon from being released back into the ocean.
This single trench is a carbon sink more efficient than almost any other on Earth.
It is a gear in the great planetary clock. It connects the sunlight and plankton of the surface to the slow, powerful churn of the Earth's mantle. The life we found here, the snailfish and the swarming arthropods, are not just strange footnotes in biology. They are the guardians of that engine. They are the living part of a system that regulates our climate. The Hadal Zone is not a remote, alien world. It is the planet's foundation, a frontier that reminds us that the deepest, darkest places on Earth are intimately connected to the air we breathe. The Hadal Zone is no longer an empty void in our imagination, but a dynamic, living system, intimately connected to our own. This journey into the crushing dark reveals that our planet's frontiers are not just places for discovery,
but vital components of the home we all share.
The Atacama Trench teaches us that life finds a way, not by fighting the extremes, but by embracing them. A home that runs deeper than we ever dared to imagine.